if you Google cultural entrepreneurship, many a times talks about linking with heritage, linking with, culture, linking with so on and so forth. But finally it is linking to, right? What you are doing, are you connecting your purpose with your profit? Profit has to be at the center. If you are running a business, it cannot sustain or survive, right? Most of the businesses today fail only because of the cash flow problems, right? If they do not, are disciplined with respect to the finances, they have a problem. It's not about anything else. So cultural entrepreneurship is more about bringing that purpose or authenticity to profit, yeah, and that's what is the consciouspreneur as well, linking to it. See, spirituality in a very simple word means stability of mind. That's it. बाकी सारी definition परिभाषाएं भूल जाइए आप, ठीक है? Religion at one point of time was created as a vehicle to develop spirituality, है ना? Do anyone know how the word religion came? Instead of asking, maybe let me answer this. Okay? Religion is a word which is combination of two Latin words, re plus legare. Re का मतलब तो आपको मालूम है, re मतलब repeat. Legare means with yourself. So connecting you with your inner self is actually the meaning of the word religion. So religion was a vehicle which was created for you to develop that stability of mind, right? And technology was a vehicle which was created to develop the materialism or materialistic world. अगर आप देखें the kind of handheld device which we have in our hands today, and if we speak to our great grandfathers, we would actually appear God to them. The kind of power which we hold in our mobile phones, आज से 30-35 साल even supercomputers were not having that kind of compute power. So if you go back to that 100 years or 150 years, to those great grandfathers, they cannot even relate what we are talking about. So technology क्या हुआ? It moved very fast or with lot of pace and developed or created that materialism world so beautifully that on a flick of button, you have all the luxuries. Be it your Swiggies of the world or whatever you talk about, एक button दबाया or whatever you want, ठीक है, is delivered within 10 minutes to you. But when it comes to spirituality, the vehicle which was created to develop that spirituality somewhere lost its way. And that's the clear issue which is happening today. अगर आप देखें तो आज से 200 साल पहले, 300 साल पहले, 500 साल पहले, there used to be less population, ठीक है, less comfort. But even till 2005, the word mental health was not even there in the dictionary of WHO. The word mental health was not even there in the dictionary of WHO. So today we are 8 billion people on the planet, highest ever since, right, the records began. But today we are feeling the most loneliness. है ना paradox? Right? है ना ये paradox? So when I talk about spirituality, हो क्या रहा है? Spirituality is being used versus materialism. The point is, when you click that spirituality or convert that with stability of mind, all of a sudden both gets connected. 30 years or 25 years back when Web 2.2 did not come, 2004 में आया Web 2.2, right? Prior to that, Web 1.2 was like a digital newspaper. No one was able to intrude you, right? But जैसे ही Web 2.2 आया, it had an ability to interact. And that's where social media got birth. Facebook got born in 2005, Flickr got, you talk about any, YouTube got born, all of these took birth during that time. And that slowly started moving or intruding in your personal space. उसके पहले आप दफ्तर जाते थे, घर आ जाते थे. Then it's your space. But the moment it started intruding in your personal, social as well as spiritual space, that's where the challenge of achieving balance has started. And hence, spirituality should not be linked as verses, but it needs to be linked as with. Let's move forward. There is another word which comes a lot, teacher versus teaching. Teaching comes from teacher, but these are two distinct faculties. Be with me from the subtlety aspect. When you follow teaching of a teacher, you are fantastic. But when you follow teacher without following the teaching, you are screwed. Do you get what I'm saying? That is what is exactly happening on this planet. There are so many Babas going around. What happens is when you start following a teacher without following teaching, you are screwed. But when you follow teaching, without or with following teacher, you are fine. Are you with me? Okay? From here, what we'll do is we'll move into some of our ancient wisdom. There we will clearly see that our ancient wisdom was not something which was a retirement scripture. That actually is a scripture of the time where you are. I unfortunately did not get an opportunity to learn when I was sitting 30 years back where you are sitting. But I would encourage you to start learning that. And some of those are very clearly in form of these books. These books have that. Very simple and easy to understand and read. So we'll go and we will understand why I am talking what I am talking. So if I go here, let's look into Bhagavad Gita, which is a smaller or shorter version or crisp version of 4 Vedas which are there. तो हमारे जो finally जो 4 supreme sentences बने उसमें एक था तत् त्वम असि. I think you might have heard this. Has anyone heard this? Tat Tvam Asi? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there are few, quite a hand, full. Tat Tvam Asi. Tat in Sanskrit means that. Okay? Tvam means you. Okay? And are exactly same. Tat Tvam Asi. That thou art is the literal meaning of that. तो जो 18 अध्याय बने भगवद गीता में, ठीक है, 3 पार्ट हैं. First 6 chapters talks about you, Tvam. The next 6 chapters talks about Tat, that, and the last 6 chapters talked about the togetherness of those two. ठीक है? So that's exactly, so 18 chapters, 700 verses, very clearly, simplistically bringing that. And by the way, this is not a retirement scripture. This is actually a spiritual science. I am using the word science, my dear. ठीक है? I have picked up 3 or 4 shlokas from them. Don't bother about the Sanskrit language. ठीक है? We should look at जो भाषा हम समझते हैं. हम इंग्लिश और हिंदी समझते हैं. ठीक है ना? We will look at the meaning of those shlokas from the today's context and how they are applicable. And then we'll we'll make this storyline. By the virtue of writing books, I have become a storyteller. And कहानियाँ सुनना हमें सबको अच्छा लगता है, right? ठीक है ना? So we are finally getting into the journey of story only. ये है chapter 2, verse number 64. ठीक है? Chapter 2, verse number 64. जहाँ पे अगर आप देखें ऊपर राग द्वेष, राग means liking and द्वेष means disliking. यही होता है. ये सिंपली एम्फेसाइज कर रहा है. अगर आप लिटरल मीनिंग देखें, अ पर्सन हु इज फ्री फ्रॉम ऑल अटैचमेंट्स एंड अवर्जन्स, दैट इज लाइकिंग एंड डिसलाइकिंग, एंड एबल टू कंट्रोल हिज सेंसेस while moving amongst the object of senses, attains serenity of the self. Now हम और आप, we have 5 senses. ठीक है? उसके corresponding sense objects क्या हैं? Eyes, whatever you can see is your sense object for the eyes. Whatever you can hear is a sense object for ears. Whatever you can taste is a sense object for tongue, and so on and so forth. Nobody is saying that you need to abstain. Nobody is saying. It's not saying. जो हमारे यहाँ कई confusion है ना, कि you have to be, when you have to get into that path, you have to get into a zone of celibacy. नहीं 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 यार, senses दिए गए हैं तुम्हें. You have to enjoy leverage. But the question is, when you are moving among those sense objects, by having those senses, are you able to keep that balance? If you are able to keep that balance, then you are good. Okay? And then it links to the happiness. The true happiness and peace is not found either in indulging or abstaining. Neither too much of indulgement nor abstaining. हम लोगों को confusion कहाँ है? कि if we abstain it, then we are moving into that path of celibacy. No. You have been given those senses. You have been given. अगर तुम्हारी जेब में पैसे हैं और तुम उनको खर्च नहीं करोगे, तो you are not feeling good, yaar. Right? You have earned money which is in your pocket, so you have earned this body, human body, by virtue of your previous karmic bank account. And that beautiful body which has been given to you has been equipped with certain senses. And that certain senses have been given to you to enjoy. But the question is, drinking versus responsible drinking. That's it. When it is responsible drinking, it's joyful. When it's drinking, and when you get that hangover, it is foolishness. And you yourself feels it. So the senses and sense objects के बीच में, when you are moving in a balanced way, and that's what is, again I'm going back to उस literature की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ जिसको कि retirement literature बोला जाता है. Right? Do you feel applicability to yourself? Right? You feel clear applicability कि यार मैं 22 साल की हूँ, 22 साल का हूँ या 21 साल का हूँ. Why am I being told कि ऐसा मत करो? Whatever is force is never forceful, right? है ना? Let's move to the next one. ये chapter 8 का 7 नंबर वर्स है. ठीक है? I have picked up just 3 or 4. Chapter 8 का 7 नंबर वर्स है. ठीक है? यहाँ पे क्या कहा जा रहा है? यहाँ पे वो कह रहे हैं कि यार carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. अगर आपने महाभारत या भगवत गीता सुनी हो तो पहला चैप्टर ही वो बोलता है कि भाई मैं अपने भाई बहनों को, वंशजों को मारूंगा. दैट इज नॉट राइट. गिवन दैट आई शुड नॉट बी एक्चुअली लुकिंग फॉर एंजॉइंग दैट किंगडम, आई वॉन्ट टू टेक सेलिबेसी. राइट? यही बोलता है ना वो. यहां पे बोल रहे हैं कि ओए गधे, स्टैंड अप एंड फाइट. ठीक है? एंड इफ यू लुक एट, अगेन आई विल गो बैक टू द वर्ड सेलिबेसी. This conversation is happening between two family people. Two guys who had their own family. Krishna was a married man. He was having his family. Arjuna was a guy who was a married man, a king who was running a kingdom. The conversation is happening between two guys, and one guy is saying, look, I don't want to, and another guy is saying, hey, shut up, just fight. Because that's your prescribed duty. So, when previous में मैंने क्या कहा? When you have been endowed with senses, you have earned that right to enjoy. Similarly, जब तुम्हें इस रोल में भेजा गया, तो इस रोल में you have to perform. That's the simple word. इसमें number 37, what it is saying? कि anything in the beginning may appear like poison, but that eventually is nectar. And इससे linked 38 नंबर जो है 38, what it is saying is anything which appears like nectar in the beginning appears to be, begins and becomes poison. Why? What is it? अगर आप ध्यान से देखो इसको, this is more about, it clearly tells that when you are talking about the contact of senses with their objects, जहां पे आप sensual pleasure की बात करते हो, anything which you are tasting to your senses gives you instant pleasure होता है. लेकिन अगर उसी को आप कंटिन्यू करते चलें, be it smoking, be it drinking, be it eating, ठीक है, कुछ दिन बाद it becomes, you are just surviving on that, you are not enjoying that. Ask any chain smoker, Ask any chain smoker. I have so many friends who have been into, serious smoking or drinking business. And for them, now they do not enjoy. 37 नंबर की हम बात करें, it is clearly talking about कि यार शुरू में तो that appears like poison, but eventually happens to become nectar. कितने लोग हैं यहाँ पे, हो सकता है you might be training for running or you might be going to gym every day. ठीक है? Training yourself to gym for first 6 months is one of the worst thing you can tell yourself. But after 6 months, you are the one who becomes a role model in your circle of influence, whether ये 4 लोगों का है कि 40 लोगों का है. Because then you are someone who appears very different, not with respect to the shape, but with respect to the feeling as well. I'm not just talking about the shape, I'm talking about the feelings as well. Because the way the saying is, when you are peaceful inside, the world outside is beautiful. But when you are not peaceful, inside, irrespective of how beautiful is the world, it will not appear beautiful to you. I have just picked up 3 or 4 verses from those 700, and my objective of picking up these 4 verses was to tell you that कि retirement का stuff नहीं है. When I was speaking to Mohit, and when we were talking about, he said understanding India, and I said understanding India in terms of the depth, breadth, and richness can never be better than what we have. Okay, and including me, I was not aware about some of these beautiful things. Now let's look at the business world. When this industry 3.0 got much more matured and streamlined, and the entire world started moving towards the digitalization and compute, white-collar jobs around the world came, right? It was the tech jobs which became the most prominent jobs around the world till about 5 years back. Yeah. Going forward, the times are for the times of entrepreneurs. With Industry 4.0, it's the time for enterprising, entrepreneurs. And that's where the cultural entrepreneurship, which is where you are sitting at this point of time, you will create a huge, huge impact, because you spoke about the word authenticity. Okay? There's a huge, huge difference you are going to make, because entrepreneurship, when you link or align the business priority with cultural sensitivity, will be the point where you will be the winner. But let's go here. So the 3 terms we talk about in our business world, there is one thing called job responsibility, there is second thing which is called link, and third which is called system responsibility. Job responsibility, you are an individual contributor. Link responsibility, where you may be a team leader, ठीक है ना? Where you are ensuring that the link is being appropriately handled. And system responsibility is the place where you are actually a leader, where you are ensuring that there is no leakage. Yeah? So these are 3 subtle but a big difference. Now if we move forward over here, my question to you is, what is this? So it's the people who are connected through system, energies, monies, and so on and so forth, right? And if you look at the non-negotiable parameter in that are short-term profit and long-term growth, right? Short-term profit and long-term growth. Either of that cannot, both, right? And if you look at further, the non-negotiable further parameters towards are, for the customer satisfaction, you need to have quality, yeah, cost, and delivery. All the 3 things to be optimal. And anything which is missing over here, anything which is less than optimal, that means it's a waste. And when there is a waste, that accumulates what? Lower quality, increased cost, and rework or increased delivery time. Is that right? Are you with me? Right? And the moment it happens, it throws up opportunity where you can find yourself lost. You have an issue of lost opportunity, your own survival to competition. That's how the entire business world, in simple summary. First, job to link to system responsibility. Where do you place yourself and how fast? Right? You want to be individual contributor, you want to be a link responsibility guy, or you want to be holding the system. That's the leadership, or that's the place where you create synergies. And here, as you very rightly said, this is a network of people, but in network of people, it's not about what, it's about how. The same thing to be communicated and get your team aligned is an art. And that's extremely, extremely important in the business world. Yeah? Now, let's look India and its global positioning. We have talked about the business world, and we will link everything. We'll link everything. If you look India and its global positioning, right, 3 years growth in terms of GDP, global GDP, do we know where is global GDP? So global GDP is over 100 trillion, it's about 110 trillion or so. And India's GDP, as you rightly picked up, it's about 4 trillion, 4.19 it was recorded last year. Okay, now? But the key aspect is the global GDP is growing at a pace of about 3.5%, but Indian GDP is growing at a rate of 6.5%. Now, India's share in last 3 years has also grown from 3.5 to close to 4%. That's a positive news. Okay. Now, the good part is that India's growth rate is much higher than the pace which is from the global GDP perspective. Okay. And it's on the accelerating path. Okay. Now, if you move forward in this story, population under 35 where you all sit. Population under 35 where you all sit. If you look at the population of India versus US, UK and Europe, see the numbers. Numbers speak themselves. India is over 90 crores. Europe, UK and US combined is little over 30 crores. So, if you look at our population, young population is close to 3x of the global population. Global means in terms of the large GDP. If you look at the Europe, UK and US, these three subcontinents or countries dominate as a part of GDP. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah? Now, if you look at, this is indeed, do you agree, a huge opportunity? Right? We are, from ancient wisdom, now we are talking something which is very relevant of today. Okay? Now, we have got 3x of young talent pool. अगर आप फिर से नंबर पे जाएं, what was our GDP? 4.19 trillion, है ना? 320 million की population of US, 32 करोड़. There, what is the GDP? 30 trillion. So while we should be very happy that we are growing, but there is a huge room for us to grow, है ना? अगर हम इसके आगे चलें, across sectors की बात करें हम, तो हमारा services sector is over 50%. That's where you actually are landing into. So you are at a very right spot, right? Be it tech, banking, insurance, whatever is the case. ठीक है? अगर हम आगे चलें, industry sector is about close to 30% and agriculture sector is about 17%. The issue which we face at this point of time, we are the largest agrarian economy in the world. But 17% के लिए हमारे पास 45% लोग लगे हुए हैं. That's where the problem comes. That's where the issue comes. So the focus has to go on to other side. Yeah? The service sector is the lion sector where you participate. But if you start working and focusing on that with 3x more number of what you are certainly going to make a huge difference and be unstoppable. So what's the summary? If we look at the summary, I think the service sector is the largest, 3x of the fast economies, and GDP is growing faster than other countries. ठीक है. If we start leveraging and applying the entrepreneurship thinking, which we are talking of the cultural entrepreneurship, you have a huge headroom, because world still needs a lot of ideas to be executed and implemented and moved forward and taken forward. Now, there are a lot of you who are looking or making an impact into the tech space. अगर हम उसको देखें इंडिया के पर्सपेक्टिव से एंड आईटी के पर्सपेक्टिव से, नाउ ग्लोबल आईटी मार्केट और एआई मार्केट को हम देखें, सो ग्लोबल आईटी मार्केट इज अबाउट क्लोज टू 9 ट्रिलियन और सो. ठीक है. इसमें एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, राइट, द एआई मार्केट is a little baby. It's little over 207 billion or 200 billion or so, but the growth is 5x of how the global IT market is growing. ठीक है. It's the 5x, and if you look at the share is very less, and the growth is 5x, as I said. Now, if you look in next 5 years where we are moving, the global IT market will cross 15 trillion, but the current 200 billion will reach close to 2 trillion, and the market size will touch good double digit, across to good double digit. And this is a huge opportunity which is sitting and linking to the question which was asked a minute before कि AI वाला part हम बात कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. That's where a lot of focus is happening on Bharat Gen by Ministry of Science and Technology at this point of time. We consciously need to move from consumer economy to creating economy. That's a lot of discussion you would have heard, right, as well among yourselves. Now, if you look, I think I'll move a bit quickly over here. In this, our India's share of IT market, if you look at from where we started this journey in mid-1990s, where we were having few hundred millions to 250 billion, it's a serious progress. But if you look from the current global share, we still have a huge headroom to play or to grow, because we are just sub 3%, and we are only in services sector. We are not in the product sector, we are not in the platform economy. 3 economies हैं, है ना? Product, services and platform, right? We are not there in the platform, we are not there in the product. And each one of you, I foresee that you as an entrepreneur should actually venture into that direction. So if you look at India's growth is faster than the growth of global IT. India has population which is 3x of the population, right, of the major economies of the world, right. India has a lot of skills when it comes to STEM. India is now working towards finding or remembering or recalling their grassroots. ठीक है. There are all signs for the point which you talked about, Viksit Bharat or 2047 vision, right? But there has to be a focus. Focus not only with respect to vision but execution as well. है ना? So this is what I spoke about. The task which we have in hand is about the 3x growth. And the next couple of slides, actually this was the slides which I presented to the ministry, and we discussed a lot about that. But you see the impact. You see the impact. अगर हम बात करते हैं 10 years economic equation, अगर आप बात करते हो 7.2% of CAGR, from where you are currently 250 billion, you can reach half a trillion or 500 billion. But अगर इसी को आप multiply कर देते हो, ठीक है, 3x से, because you have that population, you are talking of 1.76 trillion. You are talking entirely a different number, right? And the opportunity which we have is in terms of 1.26 trillion. And each one of you who is here in this space have a role to play. This is an opportunity. Now, what are the critical success factors? What are the critical success factors for us to capitalize on this, right? Some of the questions which will be here like this. Number one is adapting to the change. Change तो होगा ही होगा. How you are adapting to it, है ना? Now, The key is in this tsunami, I call this tsunami, embracing innovation, but at the same time staying grounded to your core values. Core values, I would clearly say you should compromise when it comes to the opinion, but you should never compromise when it comes to value system. Am I making sense? है ना? हमारा एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है, उस वैल्यू सिस्टम को कभी भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज ना करें. There was an interesting question which was asked to me at one point of time कि why do most startups fail? See, कोई भी स्टार्टअप होती है 3 पिलर्स पे खड़ी होती है. What are those pillars? One is idea, है ना? Second is skill. एक आइडिया है और उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग यूनिट स्किल सेट ऑफ द पीपल. एम आई राइट? है ना? बट तीसरा जो कि हिडन पिलर है, दैट इज वैल्यू सिस्टम. ठीक है? नाउ द इश्यू विच हैपन्स इज, जो फाउंडर्स मोस्ट करते हैं, दे हैव अ को फाउंडर, दे पिक अप अ को फाउंडर हु हैज अ ग्रेट आइडिया और ग्रेट स्किल्स, but value system is not aligned, and that's where the issue of founders come. ठीक है? You can hire skills, you can have ideas outsourced or insourced or brainstormed or hired, but you can never ever hire or align your partner in crime. The value system is the most important and most ignored pillar among the startup founders. And that is the key reason for most of the startups to fail. Because जहाँ थोड़ा सा बढ़े और value system misaligned हुआ, then the conflict starts happening and things fall apart. So if tomorrow you are starting, you are going to start, you're on your own, make sure that your co-founder and even the team which is your startup or core team has a value system which is aligned to yours. I was speaking to a gentleman this afternoon, okay, and the conversation was about an institution, and the 2 generation came into picture, and generation number 1 and generation number 2 have an entirely opposite or poles apart value system. Now what will happen to that institution? I don't need to tell that. ठीक है? इंस्टीट्यूशन एक लेवल तक पहुंच गई, एक वैल्यू सिस्टम क्रिएट किया गया, उसका ऑपोजिट वैल्यू सिस्टम आ गया. राइट? सो आइडियाज एंड स्किल्स people do not flock with or have problem. The problem is when the value system comes into question mark. So make sure you are grounded to your core values. The second aspect is role of leadership. Leadership isn't about implementing new initiative. It's about guiding people through those changes. It's not about becoming successful. It's about making your team successful. Because team successful हुई तो तुम तो अपने आप successful हो. That is when you all are becoming leaders. And खासकर in current times. In current times, extremely important. अब आगे चलते हैं अपन towards the climax of our story. What is the primary driver of value creation in a business leader? A business leader generates values through what he or she does, not with that, but what or who he or she is. I look up to someone when I see that someone doing something exemplary or lead by example. है ना? आप किसी को रेस्पेक्ट तब भी करेंगे जब बिजनेस लॉस में हो, बट बिकॉज यू फाइंड दैट इंडिविजुअल right? For number one, aligning to a value system. Number two, having a vision. Number three, he or she is actually walking that path. And it's the consciousness which gives that value. The way the changes which are going on, these are not just shaping the industries, they are shaping how you think. And when you integrate that mindfulness, that thoughtfulness into your activities, that's where the magic happens. Because there you can create the growth that brings the inclusivity and sustainability. And that's exactly goes back to the beginning, where those 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita was talking about. Here, do your work. If your duty is to fight, fight. No? If I have given you senses, enjoy with them. Yeah, drinking karna is not a wrong thing. You must. Mithai khana is not a wrong thing, you must. But responsibly is the tagged word attached. And responsibility is linked to the word consciousness. You're getting where I'm going? An entrepreneur, अभी तक जो चलता था, entrepreneur जो अभी तक चलता था या even चल रहा है, जहाँ पे कि सारा focus profitability पे है, but profitability and professional world only will not work, because this industry 4.0 is intruding much beyond your professional space, into your personal space, into your social space. आप 4 लोगों के बीच में खड़े होते हैं, या if you are with your friends, with 5 or 10 people, your social media, whatever, will be a point of discussion there, right? So हो गया ना आपका social space में intrusion, right? Even at your workplace, the moment you have unfinished task and you have worked for 12 hours and an email from your boss comes, हो गया ना intrusion in your personal space, right? This was not the case 15 years back, because था ही नहीं connectivity. आप घर चले गए तो हो गया, right? And the spiritual space. What is the spiritual space? मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ. To whom you speak most? आप मतलब to your best friend, कहीं होता है girlfriend या boyfriend या mother या father या whatever it is. A simple question. To whom you speak most? Very good. Very good. I think you are spot on the answer. The maximum time you speak is to yourself. है ना? The moment you are born, that perennial voice is with us till the time we are whatever 6 feet beneath the earth. And that is the voice we really need to listen, respect, admire. And that's the voice we most ignore. And the moment you ignore, the issue happens. And that's where I'm talking about, by integrating that mindfulness, that consciousness into your day-to-day activities. We are not talking any theoretical Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad or Vedas over here. We are not talking. We are talking applicability of that. You have seen by data and numbers with respect to the global GDP, to India GDP, to growth of India, to AI, to technology, where world stands, where India stands, where you stands as a part of demographics. We have looked everything, right? And that everything is all applied aspect of it, right? When we are talking of this subject of understanding India or cultural entrepreneurship, we are talking something which is applied. We are not talking anything which is theoretical. And I call this thing, thus consciousness is something which is the value multiplier, and these are the people to whom I call consciouspreneur.